Have you ever dreamed of celebrities? I'm going to tell you about a deliverance session I just had yesterday, less than 12 hours ago. It's blowing my mind. Well, I should say more than 12 hours ago, but yeah, less than 24 hours ago. It's still blowing my mind. This woman came to me for one reason, but then I found out later that this thing is completely connected to celebrities. I'll see you inside. Hi, I'm Joy with Breaking Curses 101, and I run the Breaking Curses 101 School of Healing and Deliverance. You can get deliverance any time of the day or night through my video courses, and you can also get coaching because you need to get coached through the backlash. And you can find me at the link below, breakingcurses101.com. So, I also have a Facebook group. You might want to check it out. It's private, so nobody will know you're in there and your information can't be shared unless somebody chooses to screenshot your stuff. But in the event that you don't want yourself screenshotted, you can post anonymously and people will answer questions. This is the group for my students, but I invite you to look it up, Breaking Curses 101 on Facebook. It's a really active group. So let's get into this session. First, before we get started, please hit the subscribe button so you can be notified of other deliverance sessions. I don't shame people. I don't try to humiliate people. I don't do live deliverance. I think I might have a couple of live sessions out there from 2020, and I have not taken them down because people actually still get delivered from them. And yeah, so I try not to post people's faces on here because people deserve to keep their dignity. It's bad enough going through the problems that you're going through on a daily basis. Can't talk to anybody, but then to be humiliated about the very problems that are bothering you, that's like a double hit. So we don't want to humiliate anybody. So I like to talk about these sessions anonymously so that you can see if you can relate to anything in the session, and that'll give you a reference point. At least you'll know you're not crazy. Okay. A lot of people are going through things and they feel like something's wrong with them because nobody else seems to be going through these things. And that's not true. People are going through it. They're just not able to talk about it. When they go to church to try to get somebody to try to get counseling, um, pastors tell them, oh, it's just you know, you need to fast and pray a little bit more and consecrate and come to church more, and these problems will just go away. And that's not the case. So check out the rest of these videos. Many people binge watch these videos and they find themselves in these videos, and it really helps a lot. And then if you want to come in and get coaching, you can. But I also have some freebies in the link below. I have a free challenge I'm offering. Hopefully by the time you get to the video, I'm still offering it because the offers change up. So go in the description box and see what I have there for you. And let's get started. So this woman came to me. She's in her 30s, married with a child or children. And I asked her, what does she want the Lord to do for her? And she had said she had issues with her eyes, itching, burning all the time, feels like something's in them, like, you know, like you get a grain of sand in your eyes and you're rubbing and rubbing and rubbing. And it happens even while she's driving. She also has issues wanting to run away from her marriage. Now, I do understand men do things that they don't realize to make women want to run. Um, I can't I can't say I'm different, like yeah, I've been wanting to run too. I'm not trying to come off like I have overcome all of these problems and bless God, I'm perfect and don't come for me. Nah, I'm gonna put all my crap out there, okay? You looking for an idol? I will not be the one. So this woman, like I said, she wanted to run from the marriage. She said, something in me hates my husband. Something in her hated him. Uh, she feels alone even in the marriage. So for all you single women, who want somebody to be with you, I'm not saying don't pursue that. I'm saying sometimes you can get married and still feel alone because there's a spirit that will block you from feeling loved, feeling like you have a companion, and all that. Now, these are things that she's telling me when the session's getting started. She has experienced rape, molestation, and this is the thing. She said it wasn't these weren't violent rapes. She seemed to always get into situations where she had to explain it away. Maybe it was my fault. She couldn't really resist, say no. Um, I've talked to several women who who said it was like they just shut down, and even though they didn't want this thing to happen, they couldn't say no or they couldn't resist. Almost like you're pre-programmed for this. You're pre-programmed to be violated. It's a spirit. Uh she says she's participated in yoga, meditation, aromatherapy, and so she's describing all this stuff, and then I'm looking at her facial features and I'm seeing, features of Egypt. I'm not just saying, a black woman. I'm saying she looked Egyptian to me. Um, I I don't know if I look Egyptian to you, but she wasn't. Her face wasn't like mine. Mine is more like, elongated King Tut kind of look. Anyway, so I go into the session looking for Queens of Egypt. I'm looking for she's saying yoga, meditation. I'm looking for Lucifer. I'm looking for all this stuff, right? She also said that she felt rejection because when her mom got pregnant with her, she was not married, and she chose not to tell her father about her. So she grew up the first between 7 to 8 years without her dad, even knowing that she existed, because that's how her mother was. I mean, that's what her mother chose to do. So she asked questions, and then eventually, she was able to locate her dad or reach out to her dad or something like that. So, but then they didn't really bond like that. Anyway, it was kind of late in the game, I guess. She also told me that, I have people fill out these surveys. So I'm just kind of telling you what's on the survey. I saw a house fire on the survey. Now I put the survey together, all right? And I asked the question, have you ever been in a house fire? Because that stuff passes down to the next generation, believe it or not. You can have a house fire demon. Um, Not only had she been in a house fire, she said around age 18, 19, nobody was home, but their house caught on fire, burnt up everything. And when she questioned her mother recently, she found out that her mother had also been in a house fire. Now, let me just tell you, I know I told you this in another video, but I used to have a boarding house. And in that boarding house, somebody asked for a place to stay. Sometimes people come, they will come to the boarding house for emergency shelter. Not that I would give it away for free, but sometimes they didn't have anywhere to go. So this woman needed to move in because she had just experienced a house fire. And I was like, ding, really? I'm like, has this ever happened to you before? Like, you ain't bringing no house fire demons to my house. My stuff ain't burning up. So yeah. Oh, I met another lady. I met a lady in a nursing home, and she said her home, she and her mother, I believe, were in the nursing home together. The mother owned the home. So when the mother died, the home automatically transferred into this woman's she was the heir of the home. As soon as everything transferred to her, the house got struck by lightning and caught on fire and burned up. So interesting. So I was like, wow, whatever was on you. Well, she also told me she played with a Ouija board. So, when people who play with a Ouija board, they their demons are trying to kill, steal, and destroy everything they touch. So anyway, just throwing that out there. So this woman, so I went into the session. She also said something about a C-section. She's had a C-section before. So I went to the session looking for Lilith. I went looking for Lucifer. I went looking for some queens of Egypt. I went looking for all this stuff, right? Man. But let me tell you what I found. This stuff blew our minds. Now, first of all, this woman, she wasn't a seer. She would she couldn't really see when she was going through my classes. She couldn't really see. She would have dreams though afterwards. So not everybody sees visions as they go through the deliverance courses that I offer. Everybody's different. I don't necessarily consider myself a seer. I don't have open visions and I'm not always dreaming. My gifting is, I guess, in administration. And then there, of course, there's an anointing on my life, on my voice. People get delivered when they hear my voice. My gifting is different, but as far as seeing, I'll get like a flash or a picture. And then some people are reminded of things, like memories play a really big part in their deliverance session. So this woman, she was like not getting anything. It was just no, nothing there. And she felt like she was doing something wrong. But slowly but surely, things start coming up. And I went after the ancestral witch. I can't tell you how long in the session it was before she showed up, but an ancestral witch named Joan manifested. 13 generations, Joan had been in the bloodline. Joan wanted to be a celebrity. That's what the woman saw. And apparently, Joan had done something really bad for her soul fragment, her memory to still be passing forward and tormenting this woman. I said, Joan, who did you sacrifice? And she heard everybody. Everybody? Well, let me tell you how Joan sacrificed everybody. First of all, Joan lived in New York City and she had dreams of being a celebrity around age 18. And this took place around the year 1870. 1870, guys. So 1870 in New York City, Joan decided she was going to make a sacrifice. Who was the sacrifice made to? Ra. She did a fire sacrifice to Ra and Pyro. You heard of the term pyro, as in pyromaniac, the people who are going around setting fires. Um, Pyro, I believe, I'm not sure if it's the god of fire or whatever, but anyway, pyro. Pyro has something to do with fire. And I'll look it up and see if I can find more on pyro. How did Joan make a fire sacrifice so that she could be famous? Joan had 11 family members that she lived with. So what she did was set the entire family on fire. She set the house on fire and burned everybody up in it. Everybody. And then moved to, you wouldn't guess, Chicago. I was like, what? We did not see this coming. Joan, she saw the woman started getting visions of Joan on a stage, or she started seeing stage lights and, fame. This is what Joan got. But Joan had to keep those sacrifices up. So what she did was the woman started seeing a mound of dirt with a depression on the inside of it. And I knew it was an altar. I said, what did you sacrifice on this altar, Joan? Babies. How many babies, Joan? 30. Where did you get these babies, Joan? The neighborhood. The girls in the neighborhood who didn't want their babies anymore. I'm like, where were these girls? The north side, south side, south side? I'm from the south side of Chicago. Like, and we used to sing jump rope chants saying, wrap the baby up in toilet paper and kick it down the elevator. We were singing these songs while jumping rope. Why didn't girls in Chicago want their babies? Well, they gave their babies to Joan, and she burnt these babies up on an altar. So she could have continued fame. She got these babies from girls on the north side and the south side of Chicago. And abortion's really big in Chicago. I mean, like I said, I was growing up, I was jumping rope as a little girl in the 70s, singing songs about wrapping babies up in toilet paper and kicking them down the elevator. Like I want to remember the rest of that jump rope chant, and I can't remember it. If you have the words to that jump rope chant, please post it in my comments below. Now, so the woman started to remember. As a child, she used to sing. She comes from a musical family. In her childhood and teenage years, she was learning instruments. That's what they do in the family. She said her mother's very, very talented, and she could have been an actress. She does impersonations. She was just extremely talented. She could sing, and the sister is very comedic, very funny. She could have been a comedian. So the woman's just like thinking about family members and what they could have been, but yet I guess nobody's really famous in her family. They're just talented. So I dug in and I said, let's get into the curses that came into the family from setting the whole family on fire. So the curses of Ra, the fire sacrifice was to Ra. Ra brought in spiritual darkness. And I said, how does it affect her spiritual gifts? And it said, we took them and gave them to someone else. It was her spiritual gifts were traded on the black market. I said, well, what gifts were traded? Creative gifts. She saw a sketch pad. She should have been an artist. She has a voice. Her voice was traded. Confidence. They took her confidence. They took her writing ability. They took her prophetic gift. And then she heard famous people are enjoying her gifts today. And the woman told me that she dreams of celebrities and didn't know why. Because her soul fragments are actually working for them. Excuse me. She had dreams of Teyana Taylor, Brandy, and Missy Elliott. She remembers two other guys, but she can't remember their names. She'd have to go back into her deliverance notes. So Ra also brought in the curses of rape. Just think, you burn up your whole family, and now you bring in a spirit of rape, which is why this woman experienced the things that she did in childhood. It brought in 30 mermaids, a spirit of false light. That's where the aromatherapy, yoga, and meditation come from. False light, Ra, the sun god, false light. Then she sees an owl, which is Lilith, which brings in C-sections. She said, Ra said, I need her sight so she can't see spiritually. And that's where the grainy eyes, itchy eyes, dry eyes come from. I can't wait to see what happens after this. If, see when her eyes start to clear up. Ra requires blood sacrifices, surgeries, and heavy menstrual cycles. Ra put a ring on her finger. It means covenant. He works mainly with the mermaids. I just knew I was going to find some Egyptian queens in there or something like that. But she started to look very beautiful like an Egyptian queen during the session. I mean, like, she became radiant and just like all her features like so perfect. I'm like, wow. I wish I could look this perfect. She started looking super. Like beauty just started radiating out of her to the point where I told her, please get up and go look in the mirror and see yourself. And she could see it. I think that's amazing. So, oh my goodness. She had a chief mermaid. I wanted to know who the chief mermaid was. Guess who it was? Ursula. Ooh. I call the woman Ursula, but I won't go. That's a whole different session. But this woman, she had a cape like Dracula. Ursula was wearing a cape, but she's a mermaid. And then she saw fingers like a snake, and it was choking everything, physically and spiritually. Uh, and of course, Pyro. That Pyro showed up late, but I mentioned him earlier, but I discovered Pyro in the end. He was that fire god sacrifice thingy. So that is the session. We broke all those curses. It's just interesting. The demons can come there, but come into your life, but how did they get there? I help you find out the root, what your crazy ancestors did to bring those curses over your life. And when you repent for those things, the curses break. So check me out at the School of Deliverance, breakingcurses101.com. You can take my free challenge while it's still up, Curse the Blessing, 3 days or less. Sign up, get on my mailing list. You'll be invited to the free meetings at the end of the month. And I'll see you in the next video. Start your deliverance journey today with the Breaking Curses 101 School of Deliverance. You can get delivered in the privacy of your own home. We've served over 6,000 people since 2016. So check out my link in the description below to take my free course to get started.